Good day and welcome to today's lesson. So in today's lesson, we are going to be looking at certain operations that can be carried out on your JavaScript object. For example, how do you access a certain property within your object? Well, this is how you do it. You could either do it like this. First of all, you write a property name. Let's say, in this case, our property name is person. And then you write dot the particular object you want to access. So I could say dot first name. So let's go ahead and see how that will look like. Let me write it to this my paragraph tag. So I'll write document dot get element by ID, our p1 tag dot inner HTML equal to, and let's just go ahead and set it to this person dot first name. So I'll just say person dot first name. I'm go ahead and clean this here. I save that. We come to our page. I refresh, and as you can see, it has printed out the first name here, which is John. I could also access it this way. Instead of using dot first name, I could go ahead and just write person, open and close, and then put in first name as the value. Right, so my object name, square brackets with my property name inside. Then I come here, refresh, and you can see it's still giving me John. But for the purpose of this lesson, I prefer using the dot first name style, like this. Yes. So what if I want to loop through my entire object? We can use a loop called the for loop. So I'll say for in loop. So I'll say for, then any variable, let's use a variable called x, for x in my object name, which is person. Let me go ahead and create a variable, an empty string variable, so that I can concatenate my values to it and print it out. So I'll just call it txt equal to an empty string. So I'll say for x in person, txt is equal to txt, which is this variable here, which is an empty string. Then I'll concatenate it with person dot x, where x is equal to the property name. So what exactly is happening is that it will go through all of these properties one by one, and then it will store them in a variable called x. So it will now print out person dot first name, which is this, which is what is inside x. Go around again, person dot last name, person dot age, and all that. Let me go ahead and clean this function for now, because if you want to print out a function, let me just go ahead and okay, let's leave it. Let's see how it comes out. So let me add another, let me add br, so that it will break it. Now instead of me writing txt equal to txt plus, I could just write txt plus equal to, is the same thing. So I save that, and I come here and I refresh. Okay, it printed out John. Let's find out what the error is. Okay, I did not print out at all. So I'll just say document.getElementById. Let me go ahead and copy this, and this time let me change it to our txt value. So I save that. Let me put that outside the loop so that it doesn't print it. So I save that and I come here, I refresh, and you can see it's giving me undefined. And the reason why it's giving me undefined is because for this kind of method I need to use this display method x. So I save that, I refresh again, and as you can see it has printed out everything for me as string and also printed out the exact function. So that's how you can look through all the values of the properties in your object, right? So what if I wanted to add a new property? All I need to do is to just write person plus whatever new property I want to add, let's say nationality, and assign a value to it. And that's all. I save that, let it look through again. You find out that nationality will now be included in it. As you can see, the nationality has now been added to it. So what if I wanted to delete something from our object? All I need to use is the delete keyword, right? So I'll just write let's say I want to delete the age. I'll just use delete, and then person dot age. Save that. Go ahead and find out why it's not. So I save that, I come here, I refresh, and as you can see age has been deleted from that keyword. The reason why nationality is not showing is because I cleaned it just before. As you can see, I cleaned it just before I refresh the page. So this is how you can delete, and once you have deleted something you cannot use it again unless you add it back. And finally, let's look at something called nested objects. So now let's say this person is John, his name is John, his last name is Doe. I could go ahead and create another property here. Let's call it cars, right? And this property will contain all the cars that he has. So I will make this property, the value of this property, to be another object, right? And I can go ahead and say car1. Let's say and I'll say car2. Right? Remember, we need to put our comma. So now what if I want to access this particular car2 inside this car property, which is, and the value, since the value is an object, now how do we access each value within each property within this object that is within this object, right? What you can do is to just simply say something like this. Let me go ahead and clean all this. And remember, you need to put your comma here too, since it is not the last property of this object. So I can say document.getElementById, and this time I'll write my object name, in this case is person, dot the property name, which is cars, dot the property of this property, which is car 1, for example. And I save that and I come here, I refresh, and as you can see, it has printed it out. I could put .car2, save that, come here, I refresh, and as you can see, it has printed it out. Finally, please take note of this, right? If you wanted to specify or you wanted to display a property that has a value which is a function, if you notice the last time when we looked through all of this, it simply displayed out this as it is, and the reason why is because we did not add parentheses to it. So for example, if I wanted to display this property here which has a value which is a function, and I want the function to be executed, that means the function will not display as it is like this. It will display it will carry out this operation in the function and display the result, right? What I need to do is to add parentheses to the end, and this is what I'm talking about. Now my full name property has a value which is a function, so instead of me to just display it like this, I'll say person dot full name, right? By the time I save that and I refresh, you find out that it is displaying my whole function as a string, which may not be something that I want. I'll come here and add parentheses to it like this. I save that, I come here, I refresh, and you can see it is displaying undefined. Let's go ahead and see why. Okay, the reason why it is displaying undefined is because within this my function, I did not return anything. So let me go ahead and make my function more readable by doing this again. Remember, you can break things like this, just like I did for this car. You can also break things like that within your object. And please take note, assuming this was not my last property, I'll need to add this comma here, but because it's not it is the last one, I don't need to add comma. So I said the reason why it's displaying undefined is because I did not add a return statement. A return statement in a function is what tells the function to print out something. If not, your function will not bring out any result. So I'll say return, and like that. So I save that, I come back, remember our parenthesis is there, and I refresh, and as you can see now it has brought out the full name. So for properties within your object that have functions as values, you need to add these parentheses. So that's it for objects.